The wife is a narcissist, severe psychopath. The husband is empath, but also has turned out to be a sympathetic person. There is a constant unpleasing situations in the house. Eventually, he meets another woman who used to be their childhood friend. This guy falls in love with this woman. Psychopath wife comes to know about it. Now the double drama. The husband says, okay, then let's get divorced. And the psychopath wife doesn't want to leave him. Majority of the women fall for the voice.
I understand why Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, in his younger days, girls were crazy about him.
It's about his voice. Women tend to get attracted to the voice of the men a lot of times.
What is exactly happening relationship-wise in India? What is the awareness levels of people all across the country?
In India, every part of our country is more about what is the main belief system on which we operate. So when there was enough courage to make that choice of going ahead and cheating, then either have the courage to step out of the marriage, seek separation, then don't worry about what you're going to lose money-wise.
And men and women who are like cheating more in a relationship.
I mean, it's 50-50, I would say.
But who has a tendency? Can a marriage be recovered from this affair wala stage?
Every broken heart can be repaired. Every broken heart has an option to recover by staying in the same relationship, not divorcing each other, by not being toxic. Based on my observation, in such cases, always the wife has fallen for a guy who was 6 on 10. This means that the girl was not rating, was not concerned about who you are. The girl was simply maybe seeking love, attention.
Namaste Jai Hind, I am Jayesh Gangan and this is The J Report, a podcast where we discuss everything that is happening around the world through Bharatiya lens. In the recent times, we have noticed that everywhere around the world, a lot of couples are going through a rough patch. There are couples who are thinking about divorce. There are couples who are going through a divorce. Relationships are one of the most beautiful parts of our lives, but we forget how to actually be in a relationship. And on tonight's podcast, we are discussing exactly that with someone who is an expert in this. We are talking with Dr. Anamika Chawhan. Dr. Anamika Chawhan is a leading life skills and relationship coach. She is also the CEO of Magnificent You. In this podcast, we touch upon a lot of subjects related to relationships and love. If you are someone who is interested in knowing how to deal with a relationship, if you are someone who is going through a rough patch in his or her relationship, this podcast is exactly for you. So without any further ado, let's start this podcast in 3, 2, 1. Dr. Anamika, welcome on the show once again. Previously, we talked about relationships in general, but that episode was in Hindi. This is more about getting to know what happens in a relationship, what happens after marriage, what happens in extramarital affairs, and we'll talk about pan-India audience. In fact, because it's a relationship, and I'm guessing at the end of the day, love is love, be it in India or be it in America, it is the same. What is exactly happening relationship-wise in India? What is the awareness levels of people all across the country, be it south, north, west, east? What are your observations?
Thank you, Jayesh. So, beautiful question. In India, every part of our country is more about what is the main belief system on which we operate. Okay, so the North Indian part, the belief system is about what are we doing in this relationship with regards to exchange of the commitments that we have. So there the couples in north, most of them, okay, in generalized way, they are all about that. Okay, if I am bringing this on the table, what are you bringing on the table in exchange? It's very transactional. Yeah, and they are very vocal about it. That's the beauty of it. At the same time, it also sometimes backfires because constantly speaking about transactional relationship will somewhere hurt each other's emotions, because it may not be satisfactory what they're bringing. It may not be equal what they're bringing on the table. So it is more of transactional in the North Indian perspective. At the same time, it is also a little difficult to control each other. So that also becomes their little hassle because they want to control each other and they're not able to do it. In the east side of our country, it is very traditional. and thanks to the kind of level of development we have with regards to resources that we have. So the relationships are more about that, okay, this is your area of work, this is my area of work, and we just should look after each other's duties. So there the responsibilities are more of like duties in a relationship. So if they want to work upon it happily, it's better they communicate each other's duties, because that's what it is mattering to them a lot, and the altitude is functioning on that part. Coming to the western side of our country, where we are right now, here the relationship is a lot to do with how much better we can become in this relationship or through this relationship. And this is quite new, and it is also dreamy, aspirational, it is goal oriented. So here most of the western side, like in Bombay, Pune metro cities, even in Nasik and the other cities, I've seen people are more about that, how you are helping me in a partnership to become a better version of myself. So that is a kind of expectations people have in western side of our country. The southern side of our country, there is the expectations are not easily conveyed. I see that lot of emotional conversations are missing. Rather, it is more of logical, more of mental, and also like indirect. So there, South Indian movies are beautiful when it comes to romance, which is why the songs are also sometimes very beautiful when it comes to romance. But are they able to practically speak the way same language to each other? They are finding it difficult because they are more into, you can say, like reading and more of book. So the basic conversation, which has to be very practical, subtle, touchy, mushy, that is missing. Yeah.
So, in which part of the country do you think tradition plays a big part in the relationships?
Tradition plays a massive role because
But in which part? Like
in which part?
north,
The east.
south? Okay,
East.
in east.
East,
Okay.
yeah. Tradition plays a massive role, which is why there you will see maximum of the weddings being like really extravagant. And North Indians, like East, most of the East and North are quite mixed, you can
Okay,
say.
northeast.
The Northeast, they travel each other, like, people from Bihar and UP are traveling to Delhi. Quite a lot of Biharis and UPites people you will see in Delhi. Punjabis are in Delhi for that matter. So when you're considering these metro cities observations which you're asking me, yes, tradition plays a massive role, and in the east side of the country is more. In the northeast, the states which are there, the way they respect each other in marriage, let me tell you, it is very practical, and they're very respectful to each other. They're also traditional, of course. There is a traditional conversation about like what a husband is supposed to do, what a wife is supposed to do, but they are very much, they are very tough, health wise, like physically also, and with relationship also. They help each other a lot when facing the tough situations of their life. So the northeast states of ours, I see people are more partners than being married. Yeah. Like I've traveled to Assam. Based on that, when I see and when I spoke to the localites about their marriage and decisions around marriages, they stand by their decision to be with their partner. Yeah. Through thick and thin.
So, in which part of the country do you think sexual problems in relationships are at the max? Would it be like south, north, east, west?
North is more affected severely.
Okay, and what could be the reason?
There, the idea of whole, being in a relationship is quite materialistic and very much vague. Emotions are quite dried up, and somewhere each person in a marriage is or in a relationship is lonely, not being felt, taken care, or conveyed the relationship in a easy way. So sexually, it becomes difficult for them to be comfortable to with each other and enjoy the sex between within the marriage or within the relationship.
And what could be these problems if you could list down, like the sexual problems in the relationship?
Intimacy is a bigger challenge, not being satisfied with each other, not able to enjoy the sex or positions in the sex, or able to satisfy each other's partner. They lose a lot of energy in traveling, so they are tired physically, they are mentally, they are exhausted because of the work. The weather is such, it is so dry, the quality of the air that we have in New Delhi. So it is also playing a lot of role with their psychological awareness and psychological desire to experience sex in their relationship.
So the overall theme of this particular conversation is extramarital affairs. Do you think sex is the sole problem for extramarital affairs?
No,
Okay.
never.
Okay. So what are the problems? Why do people go for extramarital affairs?
They go for extramarital affair because somehow the programmed temperature in the marriage has not been taken care. So, for example, I'll give you an example of a fridge. Okay. I have case studies where, the client has, come up and told me that, Dr. Anamika, when I was in this extramarital affair, I was looking after myself very well. And to which I asked to explain. And the explanation is such: I started looking after my look. I started going to gym. I started looking better. I started speaking well. And my, the selection of clothes were good. And I used to get more appreciation from people, at least for, being a go-getter or, appearing very much, attractive. But the moment I got out of that extramarital, I stopped looking after my physical presentation. So somehow, extramarital relationship starts with the idea of how much appealing the person is and not being appreciated for. From there, the extramarital point of view starts popping out. So if you ask me, does looks matter? Yes, it matters. It also matters that I am looking, when I am look, since I'm, since I am and I am looking good, I should be appreciated well by my partner, by my spouse. But if it is not happening, so then that vagueness, that emptiness has been created. And then I may start imagining things that, what if I would have married to someone else who would have been easily appreciating me the way I want to be appreciated? Yeah.
And men and women, who are like cheating more in a relationship?
Oh,
It's a very controversial
it's a
question.
very tricky question.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's 50-50, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
But who has a tendency?
Men.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Why
easy.
is that?
It's easy.
Okay.
It's easy in the sense that they, maximum of the men are still, like, if you compare the number of percentage wise also, men are more working. They are going out. They are meeting more people. They are exposed to, meeting different type of women. So it becomes easy for them to, easy in the sense it becomes easy for them to try their luck and try and see if they are still having that fire in them
Right.
to woo a woman, to attract a female. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What has been the most trickiest case that you have gotten about extramarital affairs?
You want to hear that?
Yeah, sure. Without taking names, of course.
Of course, I won't do
Yeah.
that. So it's a very tricky one. Couples, and this couple, both the wife is a narcissist, severe psychopath. The husband is empath, but also has turned out to be a sympathetic person. They have 2 kids. There is a constant, unpleasing situations in the house. Wife has been very brutal to the husband. Sometimes locks him in the bathroom. Sometimes to find peace, he has to sleep in a car. Eventually, he meets another woman who used to be their, childhood friend. She is but already married, but she's also not happy in her marriage. And she is planning to take divorce. This guy falls in love with this woman, the husband, and the psychopath wife comes to know about it. Now the double drama. And the husband says, okay, then let's get divorced. And the psychopath wife doesn't want to leave him, doesn't want to give him divorce, but wants to continue torture him and keeps crying about the fact that I still love you.
Okay. So what happened eventually? Like,
I left that case.
okay, it was that complicated.
It's that complicated. I mean, what is there I can help them filter?
So who came to you? Like both of them came to you
The
for help?
husband came to
Okay.
me. Yeah.
Do you think if the wife had come to you, you could have helped him better?
I tried to do the couple coaching, but then when I saw the wife, I as a coach, I got little empathetic towards the husband, looking at the situation. And that's where I realized that there is not much scope here. Because clearly there is a victim, but the victim also is turning out to be a culprit. So the husband, and on the other side, the husband is aware what he wants to do, but he's not able to take an action because he won't be able to get a divorce. And then there are 2 kids. It's super complicated.
Okay. So let me ask you here, if there are two people who are in a relationship or a marriage, and the marriage is getting complicated, as in probably there's domestic violence or anything, it could be any kind of complication. The person who's the victim, he or she finds someone else and the extramarital affair starts. It happens. When do you think it's a right time to leave the previous relationship and go be with that other person permanently?
So here there are ifs and buts. If the other person is married, then what?
Yeah.
I
Makes
mean,
sense.
he or she should be willing to leave the partner.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he or she is just having pleasure here. There is no sense of commitment.
Right.
So you can't suggest or expect or imagine that this partner will also be willing to leave the respective partner.
But okay, so let me ask you this: if there's domestic violence happening, or if there's any other kind of complication in the marriage, the two people who are in the relationship, they are unable to understand each other. Let's take that very basic problem. And extramarital affair happens. Is it okay to leave this relationship and go out and meet someone else?
No, it doesn't solve the basic problem back at home. The domestic violence is not going to stop because of that. Yeah. So definitely it's not the solace which the person is thinking will get. Yeah. She may or he may just have an option to get some relief or get some, suggestive nudges that, come on, stand up for yourself, or, I'm sorry to know about your plight. But more than a sympathy, you won't gain much. I mean, that female or a male won't gain much. So there's no point, trying to find solace, which may not even last for more than 2 or 3 years also. Because extramarital life or extramarital relationship doesn't have a long lasting shelf life.
Right. So I'm guessing when extramarital affair happens, it definitely takes a toll on the victim. But what happens with the emotional well-being of the person who is in that extramarital affair?
All of them are victimized.
Okay, how?
It's a very tricky situation. I'll tell you, people think that, in extramarital person, the person who is cheating is the culprit. It is also said that there is the other woman, or the other, more or less, it is said the other woman is the homebreaker. But who is the homebreaker here? So you have a husband, you have a wife, the husband goes out and cheats with another woman. Now, who is the homebreaker? The other woman or the husband? So here, I'll tell you, in extramarital, you can never say easily that the homebreaker is the husband or the homebreaker is the other woman, since she knew that, they both are together. You can't call anybody a clear-cut culprit. When I see it as a coach perspective, I feel all of them are victim. How? I'll tell you. The woman is a victim clearly because she is being cheated by her husband. Okay. Husband is also a victim in hindsight, not clearly, not 100%, because he may be imagining things that, oh, this is all fun and glory, and I'm having fun with this woman. But deep down, he also has this self realization. It's not permanent. I cannot go out. I cannot bring it in the society. This is not respectful. What I'm doing is wrong. So there is definitely a sense of, doing the wrong thing, right? And the other woman, she too also having the same kind of, pleasure making experiences, but she too is also a victim in hindsight, thinking that, oh, this is fun, because she will also never have the commitment, 100% commitment from this guy. Yeah. So all are victim, and they are self-sabotaging their life.
So essentially, you are saying that whenever an affair happens, whenever an affair is happening, it's not happening because of just one problem. There are many deeper problems in the existing relationship.
Layer after layer,
Okay.
layer after layer.
And how do you, as a coach, get to know about these layers?
I get to know it from understanding how deeply they know themselves, what they want. There has been multiple, conversations between me and my client where they have been in total denial about their sexual desires, for example. And they're like, no, Dr. Anamika, I don't want it anymore. I'm like, your eyes are saying something else. Yeah.
So how difficult is it to peel off those layers?
By just asking them correct questions, by asking them, suppose, for example, you are not married and all the favorable, situations are there for you to date another guy. Will you or will you like to? And 90% to 99% of the time they say yes, which shows that yes, and there's no harm in it. There is nothing wrong in it. They have hidden, unanswered sexual desires, unmet sexual needs. Yeah, it is natural.
Like I really want to understand when a client is coming to you, um, how are they okay with being open with you where at the same time they might not even tell these things to their closest of friends? So what happens when they come to you?
Is a level of confidentiality which I always maintain. I never record that call, even if it is happening on a Zoom or something. Nothing gets recorded. That's rule number one. So they see that, yes, nothing is being recorded. And I also sign an agreement with them where I say that I'm not going to reveal their names. I also make them understand that, hey, uh, a person who is having a secure marriage will not judge you for your level of marriage because I am already secure. Since I am not insecure, I won't be able to judge you wondering, oh, how come your marriage is in trouble? Yes, troubles can happen. I mean, a true rich person, for example, will never judge you what kind of car you are driving because that person is secure in their own space. So I make them comfortable and I also help them understand you have come to me because you also want to be aware of what to fix and why to fix it and how to fix it. So let's fix it. Stick to that part. You're not being judged here.
Right. So let me ask you this because I have been in a relationship where the girl cheated on me. Until date, I have not even talked to her once. I have not seen her Instagram profile or any social media profile. I have just cut her off from my life. Um, if something like that happens in a marriage or in a relationship, in a very simple, boy girl relationship, how do you navigate through that? Because probably my response to that wasn't the very most positive response, but then that was the right thing for me, which I felt in time
That
that
was your style of
yeah,
giving the closure.
I felt that was better for me for my peace of mind. But what is a mature way of dealing with this?
In a relationship, but not in marriage, you're asking.
Give me both perspectives.
Okay. So, first, relationship where the social status has not been secured yet, which is marriage. So, the boyfriend, if the boyfriend has been cheated on by the girl, the first thing first, he should find out and ask and let the other person apologize, whether the other person is really apologetic or not. Yeah. Why it matters? Because that will help the guy, the boy, to accept the fact that yes, since there is a mistake, there is also a space of seeking forgiveness, apologizing, and hence I should be able to forgive. So, there's a space which is being created here. Okay. And after that, the boy has all the right to move on from there and give it a closure in a very respectful way, in fact, rather than bashing up the woman or insulting the woman or feeling cheated and then blaming self that I knew this is going to happen. I did not trust my, gut feeling. I did not pay attention to those red flags. Rather than getting stuck into those kind of conversations, forgiving and creating a space for let the other person apologize is the best mature way to deal with it and then move on. Yeah.
And in a marriage?
In a marriage, depends.
Because in a marriage, I'm guessing it would be very complicated.
Very, very complicated because if kids are involved, then much complicated to be true. I have seen men not being able to handle it properly. They have gone out of their way by not just insulting and torturing the woman if the woman has, gone out and did extramarital and got caught, by insulting her family members also. And that becomes so toxic and negative because that leaves a scar for the lifetime. And the husband is also not willing to leave the wife because kids are there, society is there, his side of family and parents are there. So, why to take that toxic route? Why not to have a bigger thinking, a bigger understanding that it is not necessary that the cheating has happened out of fun. The cheating would have happened out of pain also. So, how about figuring out what could have been the pain which led to, confusing her with the idea of being in pleasure? And this comes with a lot of understanding of spiritual development, which is where men not, they don't quantify much. They're not so much so qualified. Yeah.
Do you think when the person who is in this affair, out of the relationship or out of the marriage, to justify their affair, they would project the person with whom they are married in a very negative lens just to justify their affair?
Oh yeah, I have those classic cases.
Oh,
Yes.
could you give some
Yes,
examples?
men talking to me, bashing up their wife's image in front of me and justifying the reason why they got out of the marriage and had a fling or a couple of extramarital affairs.
Hmm.
Yes, it is very common. It is
So
very, very
it's
common.
okay.
Yes.
And in such cases, so how do you resolve these cases then?
Here I just tell them that, see, if we are done with, understanding that how your partner, your wife was which is being projected as an enabler, she was the reason for you to drive you towards extramarital. Let's not take that route, because each one of us have a real consciousness and it's a matter of choice.
Do you think the other person, not just wife or the husband even, they can drive the other person towards affair?
They can manifest it.
You'll have to explain this.
Yes.
I mean, you did explain it to me off the camera, but for the audiences.
Yes. So, how the manifestation happen? It happens from the idea of insecurity. We are constantly manifesting. We are constantly turning our dreams and fears into reality.
True.
Okay, dreams and fear. So, if me being a husband, I have this insecurity that my wife is not usually a cup of my tea or was way out of my league, but somehow, I got married to her, and definitely, I should be taking pride in that. But then I know she was way out of my league, or my friends have told me, "Arey, kidhar mili tujhe?" Like, how did you get her? Oh wow. So family members are saying, "Oh, how did you get her? Such a lucky guy, to have her in the first place." So those listening to conversations and my own, deep fears of not being categorically ready to be loved. But yes, like I'm saying that, a guy can feel that I'm not 100% lovable, but I'm thankful that this woman has come into my life and has chosen me to love me. So I'm thankful to her. But at the same time, I'm also insecure that, but what if she changes her mind later? What if she doesn't like me later? What if she goes away and finds someone else better than me, even after marriage? What if, like, whenever she's going for partying or she's in an office, she's going for a meeting, she's, meeting different people, she falls for someone else? What if any of my friend can just come and, approach her? So how and where? Now, this constant thinking and fear of insecurity will also is like, I have started planting a seed of manifesting. Another person, another guy may just approach her and she may just slip.
But isn't this very natural? Because if a guy who is, let's say, on a scale of 10, he is 6 or 7, and the girl is a proper 10, it's natural to fear that, like, she might leave him for someone else.
So then why are you with that 10 on 10? What is the core reason? Find out. I mean,
I'm guessing the core reason could be love. You genuinely love each other, but then because in your mind you are not a 10.
So when did somebody say that, oh, you have found the love, you got the love, you are married to your love, and now don't raise your bar? Now the real marriage work starts. Now is your homework, is assignment. This is your assignment. Raise your bar. Now you bring up yourself from 6 to 10.
So instead of thinking that she could cheat on you or he could cheat on you, you just raise your bar.
Yeah.
So that they don't have that option to cheat on you.
Exactly. I'm so good already.
Hmm.
Or let me become good, better,
Right.
best.
I guess the benefit of that is even if
not by taking not by looking or listening to
Mhm.
the complaints of the wife,
Yeah.
but on my own, by myself.
Right. I'm guessing the benefit of that is even if the person cheats on you, because you have raised your bar, you are self-confident now.
Exactly.
That okay, she or he or she left me, but then
I'm the best person available still. Yeah. to be with. I'm looking after her basic needs. I'm aware about her emotional, needs. I'm aware about her physical needs. We have had the conversation around love languages. I know what she doesn't like about my family, and I accept that. Yes, there could be some issues with my family members. Nobody's family is perfect, you know. So I think there's a lot of conversation around money also. There can be some conversations, and you can a guy who is could be like 6 on 10 can come to a 9 on 10 or 10 on 10 and completely wipe out the idea of with the fear of wife cheating on someone else. And I'll tell you what, based on my observation, in such cases, always the wife has fallen for a guy who was 6 on 10. The extramarital has happened with the guy who is 6 on 10. Yeah. Yeah. See? So what this means? This means that the girl was not a rating, was not concerned about who you are. The girl was simply maybe seeking love, attention, convey what she's expecting. And it fumed up. It became a pressure cooker. And then she's like, okay, fine.
But who do you think rates each other more? Is it the men or the women? Like, in whose mind is it? It is that quantifiable.
So when women are in love, they don't rate. And I think when men are also in love, they don't rate. It's only when they start facing they start meeting other couples. And when they start seeing the society from a different perspective, and family members also start popping in, that's where things start becoming more, pressure point of performance, pressure point, and tactfulness. All this becomes a good test.
But then
to
in the
judge each
modern
other.
world, any relationship, it never starts with love, right? Because love at first sight is a very rare phenomena.
It starts with comfort
Yeah, but
and support.
at the start, you are just dating each other.
At the
So
start,
of course,
yes.
you'll rate each other. On the basis of that rating, you are going to decide if you want to date that person or not.
I think no. So I'll tell you, a person will always like to have a romantic gesture, or would expect a romantic gesture, or being so like getting attracted and being attracted only if the person is looking for that. First of all, so if I'm looking for romance and if I want to be romantically treated, then only I'll fall in love with that person.
Right.
Not with each and every person who I meet. Okay, first of all, that need has to be here inside me. So even if I'm married and I'm not getting that romantic gesture, I'm not receiving it, and I want to be romantically treated, so then the need has been created. So then now the chances of extramarital is 1% or 2% because the need has been created. Okay. Or before that, when you asked me about in a relationship or in the beginning of the relationship, if I know that I want to be in a space where I want to experience romance, so the need has been created. Now, supposedly, if I meet a person or I meet 3 guys in front of me, and one of them is hitting on me in a romantic way, or one of them with the same guy, I am feeling romantically comfortable. It is always about the comfort first. Comfortable, and also I'm getting that support. Hey, let's do it together. Hey, let's go out together. Hey, let's have a coffee together. And I'm feeling that vibe and, liking the body language, tonality. Majority of the women fall for the voice. Yeah. So the voice is very, intriguing, and the person is absolutely romantic and attractive, as is on chat also, on call also, and in person also. So when all these 3 criterias are met, that's where a woman falls in love with a guy.
This voice thing, is it true? Like I had heard about this.
Yes, because women are very auditory in love. They love to listen more. Yeah. So they get attracted by the voice very much.
I guess having a podcast is a beneficial thing then.
Yes, you're asking about yourself.
No, I'm not. I'll get killed by my girlfriend, but then
So I'm married myself.
but then I understand why Mr. Amitabh Bachchan in his younger days,
Yes.
Girls were crazy about him. My father used to tell me this.
It's about his voice.
Hmm.
It's about his voice. Yeah.
Okay.
Women tend to get attracted to the voice of the men a lot of times.
Okay.
And you will
Interesting.
see this science, interestingly, experiments among birds also, animals
Oh,
also. Yes.
okay.
It's through the voice.
Right. Oh, yeah. I've heard a lot of birds, they give out that call.
Yeah.
And bird watchers, they call it love call.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. So this rating thing, I personally feel men do rate, and there's this tendency in our minds to rate ourselves, to rate men around us, and to rate the girl as well on a scale of 10. And I'll tell you why. Because men don't have that many options. Girls have a lot of options. For a guy, if a girl comes and tells me, "Hey, let's go out on a date," I wouldn't even think twice. I'll just say, "ठीक है, चलो."
Okay.
Whereas a girl has options because she's in demand, right? And guys are not.
How about those women who feel they are not in demand?
It's in their minds, right? It's not in our mind.
That's a good one.
So I feel that's why we do rate.
Okay. Women don't rate. I know that. Yeah, because they're more on like I said, qualitative. How much of feelings, how much of gesture, how much you can make me feel. They're constantly about feeling. Everything they do it with feeling. Even if they're cutting the cake, they're cutting it with the feeling. They are cooking something is with feeling. They are praying is with feeling.
We did talk about this in the Hindi episode wherein qualitative versus quantitative.
Yeah.
So men are quantitative, women are qualitative.
Yeah.
Okay.
Expression wise, feelings wise.
But tell me this. Let's take an example of a guy or a girl who has never been in a relationship.
Yeah.
Now they've started dating this person for the first time.
Yeah.
How will they get to know they are in love?
The same old rule. That person will be playing on your mind more than needed. You will be thinking about being with that person more than needed, and constantly feeling the vibe and thinking the vibe, connecting with the songs, imagining things, and a part of life will be like, I just can't live without this person, or I can't imagine my life without this person. That's where you get to know that yes, you are in love with this person.
Okay. And how do you deal with one-sided love? Because as you said, so that person is on your mind 24/7, but you are not on that other person's mind. So how do you deal with one-sided love?
The one-sided love are very hurtful.
Yeah, it is. And we have all been in one-sided love at some point of it in our life.
It's very painful, and I think that such one-sided love affections will make the person more serious about life and will give them more depth about life. So any person who has been in one-sided love, they become more serious about themselves. Serious in the sense that nobody will take them for a ride so easily. Nobody can play with their psyche so easily. They are quite because they have filtered it so much that yes, I do have a lot of affection and feeling for this woman or a man, but it's not going to be reciprocated. And this is a reality of life. So everything that I do, I may not get what I expect or I deserve. So they will have a lot of, simplicity. And at the same time, they'll be very much in depth.
So I really want to know for
they will
all
not disrespect anybody just like that.
Yeah.
They'll be very careful. They are very sensible.
Okay.
Sensitive also. Yeah.
For all the men out there, I really want to know how can they convert this one-sided love into two-sided love? How can they woo the woman?
If they want to woo the person, then only, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So for the men, I think it is about taking the courage, number one, because majority of the time they don't take the courage to convey their feelings in the language which the woman would like to know. So I think, via some medium or conversations, either directly or through friends, try to find out what is that woman will be, wanting to have in their partner. Yeah. And why so? So if they're giving a very generic answer, be aware you're falling for a woman which is very generic right now, is not for real right now. She herself doesn't know what she wants in her life and why she wants it. But if she's giving a very particular answer, that means she's quite sorted in her head and she's just waiting actually for that person to convey the same love language or the, confirm that I'm there for you in the same style, go for it. Yeah, that's the second style, second step. Yeah. And the third thing is the man should know, first of all, that from now here, there is no looking back. Yeah. So this constant reminder should be there in his head also, and should be there constantly being conveyed, communicated to the girl also. That I need your yes, and the moment you say yes, there is no looking back. So the guy should be that clear, that much aware. Yeah, because women, girls also, fall for the guy who has a strong conviction.
So if it's a yes, there's no looking back. Even if it's a no, there's no looking back.
Yes, exactly. And you'll never follow the girl ever. So that's the kind of, I think, gentleman character and a manly, conviction should be conveyed. And I'm sure the girl will be floored. It's totally worth it.
Men, take notes. But then because you talk to a lot of clients, these are like singles, these are couples, these are people who are in complicated marriages or complicated relationships. What are some of the darker aspects of relationships that you have understood through all of these cases?
Loyalty is a big question these days,
Okay.
which also worries me, and it somehow worries me to the core that where is humanity leading?
But why do you think loyalty in a relationship is getting degraded day by day?
Because people are not satisfied.
But why?
Because nobody wants to be okay with mediocrity, with some of the aspect of life.
But if you are in a relationship, if you are in love, how can love be mediocre?
A love is not mediocre, but the language could be mediocre, the style of living, the lifestyle could be mediocre, and nobody is happy to be in a middle class or mediocrity of the lifestyle per se. People are not convinced and satisfied with their own self. So that satisfaction is also being ruled out when when your girlfriend or your wife is telling you, hey, don't do that. I'm like, I'm not satisfied you telling me what not to do. Okay. People are not satisfied with the idea that so what if others are going on a trip? Why do I have to plan a trip? So there is a lot of conflict among people, and people have become outright more negative. So that is a darker side of relationship as well. People are not optimistic about relationship. They are very, very negative. They are just, I mean, I've seen cases where couple or the wife or the husband is just counting, oh, yesterday there was this problem with my husband, today there is this problem with my husband, tomorrow I'm sure something new will come up. I mean, come on, bring up the vibe of optimism in this relationship. Negativity has to be there. Don't keep pumping or giving fire or adding fuel to it.
But then, is it a sign like being satisfied in the relationship, being okay with the mediocrity? Is it a sign of true love?
It's a sign of peace. And if in a relationship, so sometimes people like singles, they come to me and they say, I ask them, like, what is it that you're expecting, end of our conversation? And they say, I just want to know how to remain peaceful. And said, okay, and what's your next goal? Like, I want to get married. Man, come on, two things cannot work here. Relationship and peace. But yes, here the peace is about with self. How much peace you can have with your own self, with your own state of being alone. So every relationship will also make you feel lonely. Loneliness is a suffering. Being alone is your state of mind. We are born alone, we live alone, we die alone. Yes, we do have people around us, but they are not us. They're not part of us. They are part of our life or lifestyle, right? So every relationship, individuals should also have their peace with self, with their own past traumas, with their own childhood traumas, with their own, maybe crooked parenting or issues with their child or issues with their own job, issues with their own business. They should be having a goal of finding peace with their own personal issues as well.
Okay. Could you give us some examples of dark cases that you have come across?
Dark cases in such like extramarital cases. Extramarital itself is a very dark area where people lost their own identity. As in the marriage, they have lost the identity. Hence, they are not satisfied. Hence, they have forgotten what is their skill set, what is their strength, what is their opportunities. If we do their SWOT analysis, it's very dark, or maybe absolutely blank. And then in extramarital also, they are doing the same thing. Because the moment they are having the fun, or maybe like, by going for a movie together or having sex together, they know they have to go back to the same marriage, where all these happy-go-lucky situations are not easy to create. Not that it is not there. It is not easy to create. It is not comforting. It is not happiness, which their definition of happiness is. So it's a very dark area, because I may feel that I'm stepping into light, but no, that's going to remind me how much more pathetic my life in my marriage is.
Can a marriage be recovered from this affair wala stage?
Every broken heart can be repaired.
Because for me personally, I don't think so. If a person cheats on me, I can ever recover that relationship, because as I told you, someone cheated on me. I never looked back.
Every broken heart has an option to recover.
In the
And
same
repair.
relationship?
Not necessary. They can leave. They can get separated and still get repaired.
So, but then
Recovery is there.
in the same relationship, I really want
By
to know.
staying in the same relationship, not divorcing each
Yeah.
other. Yes.
How does that
By
work?
not being toxic, by not being nasty, by understanding that my partner was weak.
Because when this happens, when a person is an extramarital affair, the wife or the husband, that they come to know about the opposite person's wrongdoings, and now they want to recover everything. Okay, you have apologized
A
and
true
everything.
man, I'll pause you here. A true man will never let her wife go somewhere else. He will make sure that he is wooing her, who is staying attractive, and a true man, I'm saying. But a man who himself doesn't have strong belief system, who doesn't have a strong conviction, is a weak character. So definitely the problem is also with the man, not just only with the wife. And the same thing happens with the wife also. Same onus. A true wife, a true woman will not let his husband slip just like that. It is a task. Marriage is a task, day in, day out, to keep on pumping the happiness, optimism, love, laughter, less of complaints, more of appreciation. It is a constant task. The only challenge is these tasks are not being taught by the society, by the family members. Nobody talks about it. People say, oh, you are fighting, have a child. If there is a problem in a marriage, have a child. Or you guys are having a problem in a marriage, go get yourself a home loan. Together, you guys will be in a home loan. You'll have to work out together because you want to live in this house. If you're having in a problem, go and watch a movie. Eat the popcorn and put everything under the carpet. So these are the wrong ways and wrong methods which has been bombarded, and the real thing and real task has not been taught. So definitely, because the problem has been on the weaker woman and the weaker man, can they improve? Can they take a bigger heart and bigger gesture to realize the weakness is in me and so was in my partner? Hence, the extramarital happened by the partner. The question is, how would I be treated and would like to be treated had it been me doing that extramarital? Nobody can never say never.
But then, what part does guilt play in this? Because the person who did cheat on you, now they have apologized, you have forgotten everything, and you have moved on in life. But that guilt in their mind, I'm guessing it would be very strong. And if anything happens in future, even the smallest of things, they'll go back to that incident. Okay, this is why they are blaming me for this. So guilt does play a big role. How do you deal with
Guilt does play a bigger role, and that is where then either step up, be a man, be a woman for cheating, like the way you took that courage. It takes courage, right? It takes a lot of it is a planned thing. It's never something which happened on this, like just like that, and somebody pushed you there. It's a very clear cut choice, right? So when there was enough courage to make that choice of going ahead and cheating, then either have the courage to step out of the marriage, seek separation, then don't worry about what you're going to lose money wise. Because yes, then life is going to be difficult, right?
Because what happens is sometimes the person on whom you have cheated, they might forgive you, but you yourself don't forgive yourself.
Yes, that
And
trauma bonding is always
yeah,
there. So
and you never move on from what you did.
I'll tell you some secrets here.
Hmm.
My observation clearly, and based on the conversations I have in my record, for my observation, is that the person who cheats always also remembers the good experience of that particular extramarital affair or the cheating affair. Always remembers that, because the brain doesn't let you leave those happy memories. The brain will always remind you of the happy memories. So the person, suppose if it is a husband, so the husband who had collected good memories now will find it very difficult to say no to the partner with whom he cheated, and also not to leave the wife because of whom or with whom again he has cheated. So this guy will always have not guilt, I'll say, more of like regret and hopelessness, that fine, but I can't continue with those happy memories. So let me just work over here. So they keep going back and forth, back and forth. It's not guilt, it's more of afsos.
But then when you are in a relationship, how would you get to know that this person is going to cheat on me? What are the signs?
Oh, yeah. If the person starts zoning out on you completely, ghosting on you completely.
And this could happen in a marriage as well.
Yes. So, first, number one sign is they are ghosting on you. They are stopping to respond to your messages. They are not taking interest in your daily routine. The partner is not, involved with your daily routine life. So, that's a sign that they are about to cheat, or they might be cheating, or they might be on the verge of cheating.
So for the person who is cheating, we all are humans, right? And even in like 20 years of marriage, you could find someone else attractive. That is a very human thing, and it's a very raw thing which humans took birth with. You cannot go away from that attractiveness.
Yeah.
So how do you differentiate this is love or this is attraction?
See, every human, whether they want it or not, they will be always appreciative of beauty and feminism and, masculinism whenever they see in a better way.
Yeah.
The only thing that human has to realize, I don't have to own each of them. Why do I have this urge to own?
But isn't that also a very basic human tendency? Because of which all the wars have been played out in the history.
That's the trouble. That's where the evolving ourselves spiritually is so necessary, to realize that I have to be detached.
Do you think spiritual people never cheat?
Oh, well, why would they? Because they are constantly working on detachment. They are understanding the beauty and the freedom in detachment.
But then detachment could be from the person with whom you are in a relationship as well, right?
Detachment, okay, so definition of detachment is?
I don't have a clear understanding.
Okay, so detachment is defined as, the true detachment as per spirituality is that I understand that I cannot own your thoughts, neither your thoughts own me. Meaning, suppose if I find you attractive, I understand this is my thought. You don't have to own this thought and acknowledge it.
Okay.
I can convey this to you. And because you're also practicing spirituality and detachment, and you can tell me, okay, thank you. I understand you find me attractive. That's it. That's where the boundary is.
I can practice detachment while being in a relationship.
Yes. I'm not owning. And the moment I bring the ownership and I'm like, oh, I find you attractive. Now you have to be with me because I find you attractive. And you're like, oh, yeah, you find me attractive and you want me to be with you. Let's do it. Ownership.
Wow. I never thought about it in this perspective.
Detachment is always about ownership and not doing it. I don't want to own anybody. No, and neither can anybody own me. That is detachment. Detachment is not talking to each other, staying away from each other, not exchanging ideas. No. That is not detachment. Detachment is ho gaya, bol diya. Okay.
Okay. Let me ask you a very basic thing here. How do men and women like differently perceive extramarital affairs? I'm sure they have different perspective of it.
Yeah.
Because for
It's very
men, it could be
painful.
very, I don't know what is the right word, it could be very controversial. For men, it could be something very simple. And for women, it is very complicated to deal with that.
Oh, well, it's a painful experience for both, be it a man or a woman, for being cheated on. Because when a person is being cheated on, their whole identity becomes a crisis. Because it is a clear cut sign that my identity was not strong enough, and hence I was overlooked, and the guy or the girl looked somewhere else. That means I was not here. So painful. So the first thing that hurts a person by knowing about the extramarital is they go through the identity crisis and it hits them hard. So it's very hurting. It's very painful as a human. Now, when it comes to women, women go in the whole men bashing thing immediately. Sab mard ek jaise hote hain. Immediately this happens. Every man is a dog. So that is second immediate response to it, which always brings out the anger in on the surface. But the third stage where they come from is that they feel very, very unhappy for being rejected and dejected. More of dejected as in like, you left me and now you are with someone else, so I am lonely, with that space. With men, it is more of rejected. Oh, so you rejected me? So their ego, pumps up very much. Like, oh, so you rejected me? Now let me show you what rejection is. So they go more into, you can say, a revenge kind of a thing. Yeah. And now, out of revenge, either they'll become a fantastic man or they will literally suffer and go down the floor. They'll crash.
So do couples come to you at the start of their relationship for this very specific reason that do something with us, which helps
No.
us not cheat on each other?
Unfortunately, they come to me much later
Okay.
when enough of damage has been done.
Should they come before
Of
with
course.
this query? That
Of course.
okay.
Of course.
And
I
can
mean,
anything be done for that?
I think people should come right when they start wanting to cheat
Okay.
or they are fed up and they are frustrated. And out of frustration, maybe they have started smoking. Right then and there, they should come to me.
So preemptive methods are there to get rid of this thinking as well.
Absolutely. I can help them with their love language. I can help them to make their relationship more better. How to convey their values, core values, respect each other's core values. So, of course.
So what are the things that couples should do to reduce this risk of cheating?
Number one thing is they should just pamper each other more. People have stopped pampering.
Correct.
Nowadays, I see women pampering men more. And I find that not
Why?
a good sign.
Why?
Because, see, each individual has a good feminine and masculine energy, both. Okay, be it a man or a female. So female has to have a more feminine energy. So females need to be like loved and adored and taken care.
But then hasn't feminism in itself that changed the whole perspective?
I'm against feminism.
That's a very controversial statement. You'll have to explain why.
Yeah. So because the whole definition of feminism is man-made. Man-made, all ideas are flawed. And I would rather stick to humanism because it's God-made.
You're right.
Yeah.
So this is one conversation which I've had with a lot of people wherein we talk about women have a certain role, a biological role in the universe, and men have a biological role in the universe. And when you talk about feminism, you're essentially talking about flipping those roles, which is not necessary. I mean, of course, women need equal rights and everything. That is fine with me. But when you talk about flipping the biological role, it irks me.
But when you say women need rights, equal rights.
Everyone needs equal rights.
Equal rights, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Not just women. Everyone needs equal rights.
Everyone needs equal rights, yeah. So that is humanism. So where is
but
the
when
feminism?
You talk about
Why feminism?
So exactly, that's the problem. When you talk about feminism, not you, like the people who talk about feminism, they talk about women need equal rights, women need this and that. So essentially, you are then again creating that same problem. You're just flipping it.
Exactly. So it is so
You are
flawed.
taking those things from men and giving it to women.
Exactly.
Now, in some time, men will come with meninism, if that's a right term.
Yeah, exactly. That is why I said, see, please understand, on this planet, every man made idea is flawed. It's not 100% right. Okay. So the best thing is, how about being a good human and respecting the energy? So some women will be born with higher masculine energy, by the way. So like I'm one of them. I have more of masculine energy. I went ahead and I bought a Yamaha R15 for my husband.
Wow.
Long back, and I took that, like, of course later on he had to pay the money, but the whole gesture was done by me.
Right.
And I'm, because I like, a person with big gestures. I am that kind of person. And my husband, he's a very, like, his feminism is more about like doing small little things. Like, he'll go in the kitchen, he'll cook, he'll serve me dishes, he'll even take my plate and he'll put it in the sink, or maybe later he'll also clean it. So the idea is, now if I do more of big gestures with my husband, he won't be able to take it up, and I will also get tired. If he goes on doing more of, like, small gestures, okay, after a point of time he will also burst out. So this has to be balanced out in such a way that we also take care of our DNA thought process, the kind of thought process that we have, that, woman wife should serve a tea. Sometimes I go out, like, I do that. I ask him, like, okay, so I'll make a tea for you, and I serve him. Yeah, I make a nice tea, and he has acknowledged it. I make better tea. So I let him allow. I let him, like, I allow myself to reduce my masculine urge of taking everything in my hand and doing it by myself, knowing that I'll do it better, but still I let him, like, wanting him come forward and do it for me, and I'll step back and let him do the drive.
So let me ask you this, because we talked about so many things till now. I'm guessing one of the major reasons for people going out of their marriage or out of their relationship for the affairs is the dying down of intimacy in their existing relationship. How do you think people can continue that intimacy? Because say after, and I'm also guessing people in after, like, 10 years of marriage, 15 years of marriage, have that tendency wherein the marriage gets boring because you are with one person all the time, and it cannot be, all happy chappy all the time. So how can they continue their intimacy?
Mm, by from the start itself, however, it's not done usually, is that if I can, so this is for my, new couples or about to be couples suggestion. From the start itself, make sure that the pressure of career and money is not so high on each other. Yeah. Because what happens eventually, because of that pressure point, both the partners start losing a lot of their energy behind work or sitting behind the desk rather than spending time with each other. So I'm not saying that, be less on aspiration, but then at the same time, which is why I said delay the marriage.
So yeah, you raised this point in the Hindi episode wherein you told people should marry at the age of 35 and
30,
above.
30, 35,
Okay.
32, you can say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in their
Because
early 30s.
At early 30s, because by then they're career wise quite settled.
Okay.
Most of them. Both the side of, like, men
So
and
would you
women.
say, like, the crux of a happy marriage is a late marriage?
The crux of a happy marriage is a settled career, or a established career, or established business.
For a lot of people, their careers could be established in a very young age as well.
Yes. So if the sources of money has been taken care, investments has been done right. So what happens? The debt is not gonna mount up. The debt will be taken care.
So then you can marry, like, say at 26, 27 as well.
Yes. If the debt cases, the chances of getting into debt is quite less. If there is no, like, chances of getting into a credit card debt or a home loan, so much so that it will later on put a risk of, putting yourself into a pressure of, earning so much, then definitely the marriage and the intimacy in the marriage will be easier to carry, because it's energy. It's a mental energy, it's a emotional energy, it's a physical energy, right? So then both the partners are not draining themselves to earn money, rather than they are saving that energy and helping each other. to love us, to love each other. Yeah. So money is a crucial role to, being taken care or has been safeguarded. So if you see any happy couple, you will see that financially they are looking after each other pretty well. They are quite settled.
What can they do if the intimacy is lost now? How can they bring back that intimacy?
First of all, what is the reason why they want to bring it back? Sometimes there are couples who are okay with just going by the books, or just taking a couple picture during Diwali or Holi or Independence Day for that matter, to show the world that, hey, I have a partner and we are smiling in this picture. So what is the purpose? What is the purpose of being together? If it is for the kids, then definitely going and attending a school fest of the child is also a big relationship goal. Okay. If it is family, in laws, looking after each other's family members, then it is more or so like a duty. Okay. So we are staying together because we have got this duty to fulfill, and period. Okay. What is the purpose? Now, if the purpose is in a very beautiful way to make sure, having an awareness, I am the one who is whole and soul responsible to make her happy. And the woman also, I am the one whole and soul responsible to make him happy. And both of them are thinking alike, by the way. Then definitely that's a beautiful way to, bring that intimacy back. So in my coaching sessions, this is what I convey with the person who is in front of me, that the first thing first you have to do is give a back hug to your partner. And the simple thing is, because the person opposite it, husband or a wife, is taking a lot of load on their vertebra, so they are kind of vulnerable. And the moment they receive a back hug, it reminds them that, hey, there is a partner with you to share the load. So we are doing this together. Yeah.
Let me ask you one last thing for this particular podcast, which is, I've seen a lot of times if a person has experienced infidelity, they are scared to go into a new relationship because they are always thinking, what if that happens again? I'll break down completely. What could these people do? Because at the end of the day, you need someone in your life. You need that relationship angle. What could they do?
See, one bad story or one bad chapter of our book doesn't summarizes that, okay, yeah, the whole entire life or the entire experience is supposed to be bad. I mean, that is being too harsh on self. It's not practical also, and it's not realistic also, right? Giving self another chance not to fail so much so is necessary. So anything can happen. It's a risk. Marriage is a risk. Having a child is a risk. Buying a house is a risk. Getting into a business is a risk. Take calculative risk. Know yourself first. Understand your own fears. Understand your own inhibitions. Understand where your past traumas are coming from. And also, it is coming from the childhood a lot, most of the cases. And heal yourself. And then always manifest a healed partner, because the person who will cheat is also unhealed, by the way. So that person whom you are manifesting should be the one who is actually healthy and quite immune.
So I'll give you one scenario. Let's take this example wherein a girl and a boy, they are in a relationship. They are absolutely madly, truly in love with each other. But the boy cheats on the girl, and now the girl is brokenhearted. They break up. They move apart. The girl is scared, like what I asked you, because she has faced infidelity in her life. She's unable to move on completely. She's scared to go into new relationship, next
Yes.
relationship. But after some time, this boy comes back to her and he tells her, I have changed now. I've grown and I truly apologize. Should that girl trust this guy again?
Not so easily.
Okay. What should be the criteria for trusting him?
At least give or take 1.5 year.
Okay. And any other criterias?
So like time is one criteria.
Okay.
Yeah, make the person wait. Wait before entering my space now.
So start
Outside
from
the door.
scratch, like start from being friends again.
No. It's more of like start from the idea that, uh, why me again? Yeah. And give me new reasons this time. So that should be the second question. Wait outside and tell me from there, why me again? And I should be convinced. Am I really that person now? Because even I have changed after that episode. Something has must be shifted here, right? So third thing is that how will you handle my punishment? Because it may happen that my anger is not gone. So if I outburst or if I tell you that, hey, you are a cheater, I may just, show a wrong side of me. How will you handle that?
And these questions should be same if the roles are flipped.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Hmm.
100%.
Got it. Interesting. Dr. Anamika, thank you so much for yet another conversation.
Thank
One
you.
in Hindi, one in English. I hope so. People who watch these podcasts, they take away some lessons, especially when it's about infidelity, when it's about how to take care of a relationship, how to take care of the person with whom you are, and taking care of yourself, because that's where you said everything starts.
Yeah.
When you grow spiritually, it starts from there. So I hope so people take those lessons. Thank you so much for these conversations.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you, Jayesh. Namaste.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
Do we need a picture?
Yeah.